Neil, happy anniversary. I think it's 2 years today, isn't it? Does it feel like 2 years that you've been here?
There's so much water gone under the bridge, really. It's quite an amazing time, really. And it's something I'm really proud of, I've got to say, in my career. But it's, we've got to move forward now. It's just, I thought last week when I saw, Burnley on a Sunday afternoon and over 30,000, it was, I think, incredible, really. The fans have really taken it on board. And I think that's my biggest achievement. I think getting the club together now. It was a little bit fragmented when I came. And I think that's, putting everybody together and all supporting the club. It's a fabulous feeling now. All I've got to do now is get some results to make them even more happy.
Yeah, I was going to say, despite the results, still, you still feel that the club and the team, the squad's really together?
Yeah, they are. I mean, I think, I don't know how we didn't win last week, but that's life in the Premier League. You just got to get on with it. It was a positive performance, other than the result, and I thought once again the fans as well were superb, and I'm sure we'll be filling whatever we're allowed to fill at Wembley, because that's what they have been pretty amazing away from home as well.
You defied expectations by taking Cardiff City up. I mean, you took them really from perhaps relegation to League One to the Premier League. Now people are saying Cardiff City, they won't stay up this season. Do you think you can prove people wrong again? I think people, intelligent people as well, know the situation that we're in, and it's going to be very difficult. We know that, and we always did know that. Once we knew at the start, that before the season, that we weren't going to be in the market for the type of players that some of the other clubs were in for. But we've got what we've got, and I don't think it's time to sort of start looking at this, that, and the other. We've got some decent players, and we've got to move on and try and get the results with what we've got. We've got a close knitted, a group of players, and I don't think it's been a lack of quality that's cost us the results. I think it's been individual mistakes and errors, which we didn't have last year, and I don't think it's been the quality of the opponents either. I think it's been our own stupid mistakes that's cost us. So it is disappointing because points are so precious in the Premier League to get. I was going to ask you actually about quality because I read the interview you did with Wales Online, which was really interesting to read about your 2 years, and you said about the summer transfer window this week that you did want a striker, that extra striker. I know you bought Bobby Reid, who's can sort of play in that role. Why didn't you get one? Why didn't that materialise in the summer?
We just couldn't get it over the line, really. There were all sorts of different things, as you're aware, agents push everybody in. But there were 3 or 4 really good targets that we went close to. I thought, the chairman spoke to a couple of clubs, and I thought we were really close to the line, but we just couldn't quite get the terms agreed, everything, either the player or the club, etc. And it just one of those things. We couldn't get him over the line, and it got very close even with the midfield lads. I think we were 10 minutes from the deadline to get the midfield lads. I mean, I don't know where we'd have been without those 2 lads coming in. So it wasn't for the lack of trying. It's just you're in a different world when you're trying to sign players in the Premier League. And today with the money situation, what does get you an average player in the Premier League? You've only got to look at the sort of money that's been spent, really, and that's I'm not saying money's everything. But I just feel that missing out on that striker did detract from what we've got, really, because I think we have got a decent squad. You just need that striker to finish it off, really.
You said you want 3 or 4 new additions possibly in the new year as well. So right now, with what you've got, with these strikers, let's just say you have this lot till the end of the season. Is there?
I don't like saying this lot.
This lot, in the nicest possible way.
Thank you.
This group of players.
Yeah, all right.
You've got these players to the end of the season. Have you got enough quality to stay up?
Well, at the minute, I think we are looking, having looked at the situation for 7 games, I think you've got to say we do need 2 or 3 quality players in that squad. So what we have to do is try and grind the results out until January to enable that to do it, and like I said, we've got a good group of lads. We've got to probably try 1 or 2 things to see if we can get goals from other people, other areas, because it's obviously not been a great thing so far. When you look, I didn't realise, but when you look like last season, I looked, I think it was on your programme, our top scorer last year was 10 goals. So we've not been prolific, I think it's fair to say, even in the Championship. So even harder in this at this level to do that. But like I say, it's not been the goals that's concerned me. It's been letting them in at the other end, the silly goals. That's, you know, last weekend was a fine example of that.
Yeah, well, last weekend I think I read you 20 shots on Burnley's goal, but only 5 of them on target. So what have you been doing in training to sort of hopefully up that ratio and up your chances?
You sound like my owner, Vincent. Vincent wants 30 shots every game. You know, we do work hard on the forward play, as every club does really. But you know, when you look at Liverpool the other night not having one shot, a club like them with the forward line they've got, you know, it's not straightforward. It does look as if it's a simple black and white, but it's not like that in football. What you've got to do is, you know, some people have one shot and they take advantage of that and win 1-0. You know, others have 20 like ourselves and we end up losing a game. So, you know, there's a lot of different ingredients go into the recipe, really.
How are you looking in terms of injuries ahead of Tottenham this weekend?
I don't think we've anything else untoward. I think they're all available as such. You know, the long-term lads are going to be missing. But Gunnarsson's not far away. Hopefully Gunnarsson will be involved against Fulham, I think. So you know, he's not far away now.
There's been a lot of talk about the pitch at Wembley this week.
It didn't look good, did it?
What do you think of it?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes you get a false impression when you look from above with the cameras. It just looked like the middle part was like Blackpool Beach, isn't it? But it didn't seem to play that badly. So I would imagine when you're down there, it's just after the boxing, they're trying to just, you know, level it off with sand and the ingredients to make it back to normal, you know. But it didn't look very good. I was really surprised at that. Because going to Wembley in the olden days, it was just like a bowling green, wasn't it? It was unbelievable. You know, it's like playing on a snooker table. That was the thing. I remember when I first started, they asked me my ambitions, you know, and it was to manage in the Premier League, to take a team to Wembley on the hallowed turf. So it's a great thing, and I'm pleased for the fans that, you know, they're going to go there. I'm disappointed it's not the new stadium. When I saw the fixtures and I saw that we were going to go to the new stadium, I was really delighted. You know, at my stadium, because I thought it was, you know, be fabulous to go to the new stadium, but not to be. You know, I think I've said it in the past. White Hart Lane was always my favourite Premier League ground from a manager's point of view. I thought it had everything really, atmosphere-wise, and so it's it was going to be good for me to have a look at the new stadium, but I'm sure it'll be ready for next season.
If the pitch is a little bit dodgy, could that work to your advantage?
What are you trying to say about that? What are you trying to intimate? I don't think so. I mean, I think if they took probably a tractor on it beforehand and plough it up a little bit, it might help. But I don't think it'll be in such a state that it'll affect their players and our players. It might stop my ball players from running with the ball, if that's what you mean.
That's exactly what I meant. But for the players to play at Wembley, even though you're not going to the new stadium, it's a nice occasion for them, isn't it, really, to go there and play in such a stadium?
Well, I mean, you know, we were watching the game the other night, you know, Barcelona at Wembley, and we're there next, you know, next up Cardiff City. I mean, it's a fantastic thing that what we've done, but I don't want us to go there just to have a day out. I want us to give them a game if I can, you know. I don't... But it is a fabulous stadium and a great treat for the fans. But I mean, when you look at that the other night, I mean, that's all you've got to do to beat Tottenham, isn't it? Have a Messi.
Who will be your Messi then?
Well, I hope Josh Murphy. I hope we'll have to call him Jesse or something, won't we?
Just a word on Harry Kane. I've got a stat here that he's scored against 26 of the 27 different sides he's played against in the Premier League. The only side he's yet to find the net against are Cardiff, albeit he's only played 16 minutes against Cardiff City. So, can you stop him?
Well, it'll be a good test for the lads at the back. I mean, they've come up, and I think even they know they've made mistakes elementary. I mean, if you make a mistake with Harry Kane, you're going to get punished. So, but you know, we're quite looking forward to this, if I'm honest. You know, nobody gives us any chance, and I think with the players we've got better players than what people give us credit for. I think Arthur and Victor Camarasi have been excellent so far this season. Like you said, Josh has done well. And I think if we can play anything like at the back, it will give us a chance of getting a result.
And in terms of the time to play, Tottenham had 6 injuries ahead of the Barcelona game. Is this a good time to be playing them?
It depends which way you look at it, really, because they've had 6 injuries. But if you look at the squad that they put out, you know, would any of my team get in their team, the team that they put out? You know, you'd have to look at that, and you know that's how good they are in the squad. You know, we've had I think severe injuries really in the situation, even though it's only 2 or 3. Because when you're established like them, you know, they've got people like Harry Winks to come in who's not even in their 25 because he's under 23. We haven't got any of those. So, you know, we're a long way away from establishing, and that's why it's important, if we could, to make sure that this opportunity doesn't get missed by Cardiff and the club of building that academy in the future, you know, because it's so important for the future.
What do you make of Mauricio Pochettino as a manager?
Oh, I think he's super. He's a lovely guy. You know, I've played against him a few times. I've always done quite well against him. I thought at Palace they were very lucky to come away with a draw against us. I think Lloris was unbelievable that day. Hope he didn't have another day like that. So, you know, it's. I think it's teams they are what you get. I think, you know, you get criticised differently at the top of the league than you do where we are, and they're so close. I mean, I watched the Inter Milan game. I think it was Inter Milan, wasn't it? And they were so good. They should have won that easily. To lose 2 goals in the last few minutes, and then all of a sudden the headlines are entirely different to what they should have been. That's the frustrating part for a manager, when your team plays well and you end up getting stick because you've lost a game and that you should really have won. And that's nothing down to the manager. That was his players that let him down that night. So it is a difficult one. They're a really good, exciting team, and I think with the English lads they've got, we should be proud of people like Pochettino for giving them an opportunity. Not many managers in our league give the youngsters an opportunity, and he loves it. You know, I think he thrives on it, and I think it's great when you have a manager like that. And I'm sure, you know, and no disrespect to Tottenham, I'm sure he'll go on to even higher things in the future.
And just finally, just away from the game for a second, I know you're aware that Jose Mourinho did a very short press conference this morning. He seemed perhaps a little bit downbeat. What are your thoughts on what's going on with Mourinho and what's going on with Manchester United at the moment?
If he's downbeat, he ought to come in my office for a couple of hours. And then he could cheer him up. He's not in a bad place, I don't think, really, when you look at their squad. I think he's, you know, it's not easy at any level managing because everybody's an expert, and when you're the type of manager that Jose is, you know, you put yourself up there to, you know, it's like the British press, really. Build heroes up, ready to knock them down. I'm afraid that's how life is in nowadays, and there's always got to be somebody. And at the minute, you know, it's his players are the only people that can get him smiling again, I would think, and they're quite capable of doing that.
What have you found Jose like just to deal with one-to-one? Do you know him well?
I don't know him well. I just think he's always been superb with me, and you know, we contact each other a couple of times a year, and you know, I wish him well. I think he's it's not the same. It's not the Mourinho that you see on the television when you see him behind the scenes. It's like a lot of people like that. You know, I mean, Wenger was fantastic for me, and yet you saw a different Wenger in the cameras. So it's what happens behind the scenes that I like, and you know, I think every manager has the different things. You know, this week I was very disappointed to see the happenings with Steve Bruce, and I don't think any manager should have to tolerate that from supporters. Really, I think that you know, it's very sad like that, and I think that's the part of the football that managers look at, and it's not you. You're glad it's not you, but it's, you know. It shouldn't be happening to somebody like Steve. I think he's done such a great job over the years, and I think he did a decent job there as well. So that's the disappointment for me. Fortunately for me, I know it sounds silly, but we haven't got a win yet, and yet our fans are unbelievable. You know, and if long may it continue, because if they weren't like they were, it would be an impossible at the moment.